So today I'm putting two of Triumph's heaviest hitters head to head, and that is the Speed Twin 1200 versus the 1200 RS. Now, whilst on paper the RS looks like the clear standout winner with better braking, more power, fully adjustable suspension, the question is, do those big name accessories win out on the road? And if I had the choice, which one would I be leaving the showroom with? Let's find out. So when it comes to power and performance, both of these bikes share the same 1200cc parallel twin liquid cooled engine. The power delivery is beautifully smooth and instant on both of these bikes, with no hesitation in the throttle, no flat spots or blips, just clean linear pull all the way through. But here's where it starts to part ways a little bit. Now the RS offers 3 riding modes, which includes the more performance-based sport mode. This gives the bike a more aggressive tuning that encourages you to twist the wrist just a little bit more. Riding this bike in the mid-ranges is like pushing the booster plug on your Super Mario Kart when you start pushing this bike. You instantly feel that track-inspired setup and the responsiveness on the RS. However, the standard Speed Twin still holds its own, and honestly, it's not only fast, but it is fast enough. You can comfortably hit motorway speeds or push it on those back roads with plenty left in reserve, and it does it all with a smoothness and a comfort that is more enjoyable for everyday riding. You still have that sports bike feel and responsiveness, just without that extra aggressive edge. Now when it comes to braking, there's no doubt the RS has got a fantastic setup with those massive 4-pot Brembo calipers up front surrounding those 320mm floating discs. Now this is a setup that you'd find on a proper sports bike. They're phenomenal, they're sharp, they're progressive, and they're definitely confidence inspiring. But here's the thing, I was genuinely surprised at how good these stock Triumph calipers were on this regular Speed Twin. Now I was nervous about how they would perform, as I've changed my own low quality Nissin calipers on my bike. And so I was a little bit hesitant, thinking, have Triumph done the same thing here, gone low quality? But the stopping power was strong, it was consistent, and it delivered everything I asked for. Now unless you're planning on doing track days or pushing it really hard, then the standard setup is more than capable of delivering a fast-paced ride and with great stopping ability. Now there's no doubt when it comes to handling and suspension that the RS wins on paper yet again, and that comes down to its fully adjustable suspension setup. Up front you've got these massive Marzocchi upside down forks, and at the rear you've got these twin Öhlins piggyback shocks. These both give you lots of control over your setup and your riding style. The ride on the RS is definitely firmer, and the handling is more precise. Now when I say precise, I mean this bike wants to be ridden fast. It is super flickable, and at high speeds it almost becomes twitchy in its responsiveness. But that precision comes at a price, which is comfort. On rougher roads or longer rides, that firmer setup can start to wear on you a bit. Even though it's fully adjustable, it's highly unlikely you'll be playing with your suspension settings each time you go out for a ride. Now, the standard Speed Twin by contrast strikes a perfect middle ground. It handles beautifully, it's planted, it's stable, and it's more forgiving on those rougher surfaces. You can throw this bike into corners with confidence, and it feels more stable because it's less aggressive but perfectly capable. It's the kind of bike you can ride to work during the week and enjoy a faster paced Sunday blast without needing to take a couple of headache pills afterwards. Both these bikes share Triumph's mix of modern tech in a classic shell. Things like its IMU ABS, traction control and riding modes. The single TFT LCD display is also new for 2025, and it's a common feature on both these bikes, and it is integrated with Triumph's app to access things like calls, music and navigation on the go. Now the RS gets a little bit more in its electronic and rider sophistication with the addition of sport mode. You also get these upgraded black brake levers and the Brembo master cylinders. You get lower bars, higher rear sets and that quick shifter for faster gear changes. So when it comes to styling, here's where I get a little bit controversial and split my opinion. Although almost identical, the modern twist on this classic styling seems to suit the RS a little better over the standard model. The bold colourways, those big gold forks and Öhlins rear shocks don't fight with its attempt at being a retro-inspired bike. That's because the RS is unapologetically a sports bike, and it makes no bones about it. Yes, it has elements of retro charm, but ultimately this bike is built for speed, and so the modern retro charm is more a nod to its past with a clear focus on the speed and performance that this bike is built for. When it comes to the styling on the standard Speed Twin, however, I felt differently. The standard model seems to have lost its retro charm by going too far down the sportier route, but not far enough like its RS brother. So for me, the styling slightly jarred against the bike's standpoint. The more modern touches like those bold fonts on the tank and the tank indents and those big upside down forks meant that this bike lost a lot of its original charm with a move away from those twin clocks and that old school fork gaiters. That single off-centred TFT display feels a little bit like a missed opportunity. It lacks the retro character that the old dual clocks brought to the look and feel of its predecessor. And even though I'd like the dual clocks on both of these bikes, I feel that slightly off-centred TFT suited the RS just slightly a little bit more. So the RS absolutely justifies that higher price tag, and that comes down to its big name components. If you were to go down the route of adding those 4-pot Brembo calipers, floating discs and fully adjustable Öhlins and Marzocchi forks, I think you'd be paying far higher than that extra £2,000 price tag. So yes, the price is fully justified. But here's the thing. The standard Speed Twin 1200 already nails that core experience. It's more versatile, it's more comfortable, and it still performs outstandingly on those faster rides. So yes, the RS might have that big name components, be leaner, it might be faster and more performance focused, but it doesn't deliver the versatility of its brother. So if I was to walk into a showroom today, which one would I be riding home? Well, I've obviously slated the styling on the standard stocks 1200 Speed Twin by saying I didn't really like that TFT and I didn't like the tank indents and the big bold fonts, and I felt that the bike had moved too far away from its classic look. But then I also praised the styling on the RS model, saying that I felt it suited that bike a lot better. So which would I go for? Would I have the more aggressive riding style of that 1200 RS, or would I don't want to say settle, would I go for that more all-round balanced 1200 stock model? So undoubtedly for me, I'd go with the stock Speed Twin 1200 over that loaded RS model. For me, I found it was really balanced, it was more than capable on the twisties, comfortable on the commute, and it is far more versatile for everyday use. You can enjoy those more relaxed, fun rides, chilled rides, and then pull it out the bag when you want to push those limits a little bit more. So what are your thoughts? Have you ridden both bikes? And if so, which one would you choose? Maybe you've already gone out and purchased one. If so, which one did you go for? Did you go for the stock model or did you go for the RS? If you went for the RS, are you using it on a daily commute? And if so, how is it holding up? If you bought the stock model, have you made any changes to it? If so, let us know in the comments below, because I really would like to see how you guys are getting on, what you're doing. And don't forget, as I always say, the comments box below acts as a fantastic resource for anyone that watches these videos. And if they're thinking about buying a Speed Twin 1200, then you just might help them make that decision over my opinion. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, you can do so by clicking the little button below. And if you click the bell icon, then that will keep you up to date with all the latest releases on the channel. So all that's left for me to say in the meantime is safe riding, safe driving, happy adventures, and I'll see you in the next one.